Uttarakhand is a part of the Ramayana. Then why is it called Uttar Ramayana? In our stories and plays, we always have a happy ending called Sukhant. The Ramayana does not have this. In particular, the Uttarakhand, which has a tragic ending. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm reading book Devlok with Devdutt Patnayak, and today I started reading part 29, Uttar Ramayana. So let's continue. For many, the Ramayana ends when Ram is finally crowned king and establishes Ramrajya. They see the Uttar Ramayana as another poem. We like to see Ram as God, who is always entirely positive and perfect. In the Uttarakhand, it seems as though Ram is no longer perfect, and perhaps this is why people did not like it and began to consider this section not part of the Ramayana. Another reason is that Sanskrit scholars are of the opinion that the language of the Uttar Ramayana is different from the rest of the text. It is as though it was composed later and combined with Valmiki's Ramayana. In the Uttar Ramayana, Ram becomes king and Sita goes to the forest. Does she go on her own or is she asked to leave? What is the story here? In Valmiki's Ramayana, when Ram asks his spies to find out what people in the city are talking about, he learns that they are discussing Sita's character. They are gossiping about what might have happened in Lanka in the 4 months that Ravan had imprisoned Sita. Ram doesn't like it. He feels the reputation of Raghukul is becoming tainted. So he tells Lakshman to take Sita into the forest and leave her there. So it's not Vanvas, she is abundant. In the Kritivasi Ramayana, Adhobi's wife goes to her mother's house, but on her way back, she has to take shelter in a boatman's house for one night as the river is flooded. On her return, her husband refuses to accept her because she has stayed with a strange man. He says, I am not Ram to accept a wife who has lived with a strange man for 4 months. It is interesting that this person is a dhobi who cleans clothes and removes stains. This is to suggest that the Raghukul has acquired a stain that even Ram cannot cleanse. In a third version, the women of the palace, the queen's servants, playmates, ask Sita whether she had seen Ravan. Sita says she did not even look at him. When they persist, she says she only saw his shadow in the water when he abducted her and took her away in the flying chariot, Pushpak Viman, over the sea. They ask her to draw the shadow. When she does, they feel that she's drawing his shadow in his fond memory. There's even a story called Ravan Chaya. This reaches Ram who starts doubting Sita. In another version, Supnakha wants to avenge the death of her brother and the destruction of Lanka. She doesn't want Ram and Sita to have a happy married life. So she disguises herself and goes and starts gossiping in the streets of the city about Ravan and Sita. Then she asks Sita to draw Ravan's shadow. Sita draws only the outline that she had seen, which Supnakha completes later and shows everyone saying, look what Sita does when she is alone. This gives rise to suspicion in the palace. In all these versions, at the end, Ram has Lakshman abandon her in the forest to save Raghukul's reputation. Sita didn't even know she was being abandoned. No, she finds out only upon reaching the jungle. She is told not to return, not to tell anyone she is Ram's wife, a Kulvadhu of Raghukul. It is said that Ram did not tell her because whenever he had spoken to her about something, she, being an intelligent woman, had argued back, like Sita had done when Ram had not wanted her to join him in his Vanvas. She made him reverse his decision by her sharp logic. We worship Raja Ram, the king, not Pati Ram, the husband. The important point here is that Ram does not remarry. In the Ramayana, Ram has been shown to cry thrice. Once when Sita is abducted by Ravan, the second time when Ram abandons her, and the third time when she goes back into the earth. People say that because Ram treated his wife badly, even today women are not respected by men in India. This is known as kutark or misplaced logic. If our youth, our men wished to emulate Ram so much, then they would be Maryada Purushottam like him. They would follow rules and have high morals. How many Indian men do so? There would be no corruption if they indeed followed Ram's example. Ram was Ekam Patni Vrata, monogamist. Not all Indian men are. Indian men don't seem to have adopted any qualities of Ram other than the negative. This epic is not meant to be a parable, a story with a moral. Both the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are mythological tales, Mahakavya, great poems, which are simply telling stories, not suggesting you become like the characters. But having heard these stories, you can reflect on what the characters went through, what their dharma sankats were, what decision they took, and how. Ram is conflicted about his role as a king and husband. Ultimately, he follows the cardinal rule of Raghukul that the king's reputation is above all else. He may even have to sacrifice his personal happiness for it. He will not be respected by his people if he is even slightly tainted. So, a king, Ram, has to leave Sita, his queen, which means he ends up losing his wife too. If he had remarried, the story would have been different. The Ramayana may not even have been written. So, this is it for today. I'll continue this part in my next video. Till then, keep listening beautiful stories and keep smiling.